Hello, beautiful people. Good day to everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Let's jump right into it. So, as we all know, President Joe Biden came with an immigration reform. That's the U.S. Citizenship Act 2021 that is being proposed to Congress, and then hopefully they'll make it into a law. It will have to go through some hoops, some revisions, and then some voting by Congress, both the House and the Senate. They have to vote, and then once we get majority vote for the bill, the president will sign it, and then it becomes a law. We're not yet at that stage, but I wanted to come your way to discuss with you guys how you need to start preparing yourselves for the amnesty, or hopefully if the bill passes, what you need to be doing now in order to get ready for that time. Okay, so in 1986, President Reagan passed a similar law in the US where he granted about 3 million undocumented people legal status here in the US, and the law was called the IRCA, the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986. And so we're actually going to look at I have the 1986 law in front of me, so we're going to look at what they required at that time, and then we can sort of look at that to figure out what may be required when this law is effective. Okay, so first of all, let me just clarify that. So that the 11 million undocumented people will be granted a pathway to citizenship. That's 8 years, means that they will be granted a temporary legal status for 5 years. The temporary legal status would be the bridge between their undocumented state and then their green card status. So from undocumented, you go to a 5-year temporary legal status, and then after which you get a green card that you hold for 3 years. After that, you can apply to become a citizen. So that's the 8-year total pathway to citizenship. Okay, so essentially what President Reagan's legislation said was, so there were so the first condition was that, so it said the president directs the attorney general to adjust to temporary resident status those aliens, number one, who apply within 18 months. So the first point to note is that there will be a time frame within which you will be allowed to apply. And so you have to remember that if you don't prepare yourself, there's going to be a crazy mad rush for documents and people trying to gather documents, and you might miss the time frame. I don't know what the time frame is going to be, but you need to just get ahead of the curve and ahead of the game. You need to just get your things lined up, your ducks lined up in a row, so that as soon as the whistle is blown, you can start running. You hit the ground running. Okay, so there'll be a time frame within which you apply. The second one is that you need to establish that okay, so that we're still talking about President Reagan's law. Number two, they need to establish that they entered the US before January 1st, 1982, and have resided here continuously in an unlawful status since such date. So there will be a cutoff point. They'll give a date, a date, and states that from that date you should have been residing in an unlawful status since such a date. And so for people who are here in the US, who happen to be here on let's say a tourist visa, and who are actually planning to let their visas elapse and then they can be granted amnesty, you might want to be careful. I don't know what the terms of the law will be. I'm not sure what the cutoff point, what they're going to say, whether you should have been here in an unlawful status since maybe 2010, December 30th, 2010, or whatever. I don't have all those details. So you just want to make sure you've spoken with an attorney and you know what you're doing before you put yourself in a mess. Okay, just because there's going to be an amnesty doesn't mean it's a party for to overstay your visa or to violate the terms of your non-immigrant stay here in the US. You want to be careful. The third condition under Reagan's law was that the alien was otherwise admissible. So admissibility in terms of US immigration law is very broad and vast, and when it says that you have to be admissible, it is a term of art. And this term of art, let me give you some examples. They're just, you may be inadmissible due to criminal reasons. You may be inadmissible due to your likelihood of becoming a public charge. You may be inadmissible due to fraud. You may be inadmissible. There are miscellaneous grounds of inadmissibility. You may be inadmissible due to health. Okay, so we will just have to still wait to see what the terms of the law would be, but this is just going to give us an indication of what might happen. Okay, so the other thing we have to note is that the law also prohibited the legalization of persons who were convicted of a felony or 3 or more misdemeanors in the US, and other things. So you have to be careful. You need to, of course, be of good moral character. I have discussed what the term good moral character in US immigration law means in another video. It's very broad. Let me just give a quick recap. Essentially, good moral character, there's let's say there's a permanent bar to establishing good moral character: murder, and then aggravated felony. Aggravated felony will mean you've committed, let's say, rape or sexual abuse of a minor. That's just in passing. So these are things you have to look out for. So here are the documents you need to start gathering. Okay, the first one, if we don't finish this, I have a few minutes, I'm sorry, if we don't finish this video, I'll do a part 2 where I'll continue the documents you need to start gathering. The first one you want to start gathering is your FOIA. So a FOIA is Freedom of Immigration Act. I'm sorry, I forgot we just refer to it as the FOIA. The FOIA is a document that contains all your immigration history, and every person so the FOIA is different from the Privacy Act. The FOIA can be requested by both documented and undocumented immigrants, and this is the when you request this, it provides you with a record of everything you need to know about your immigration history. But you need to know what you're trying to FOIA. You would need to know whether you're trying to FOIA. You need to know which agency to FOIA to, whether to DHS. DHS has some department, so you would need to know whether you're doing it to USCIS, OBIM, that's the the biometric management place, or to the CBP, the CBP, the border protection unit, or EOIR, that's the immigration court. And what this FOIA document is going to do for you is that when you're applying for the temporary legal status, you may normally be asked certain questions like, okay, when did you come in? Were you ever deported? What did you file for? What type of immigration benefits did you file for? And the FOIA will give you the FOIA will give you a record of everything, and it will be more accurate. It takes months to get the FOIA back. It may be expedited. There's some exceptions, but usually there's a multi-track and a single track. If there's a multi-track system, it can take up to anywhere between 6 months, 18 months, 9 months, or whatever, because of even COVID. Okay, so you want to get ahead of the game. You want to apply early. You need to have all the documents, because a lot of the times immigrants are unable to keep in their mind I mean, not even immigrants, people are not able to keep certain dates in their mind, you know, when they were arraigned before court, or when they received a deportation order, or when they applied for certain benefits. So all this type of information would be with your FOIA records, and so it's free to apply, but of course it's a little technical, so you would definitely need the assistance of an attorney who can, you know, do the request for you, who can guide you through the process, and even tell you which specific departments you need to apply to in order to get your immigration records. The second thing you need to do is you need to get an ID, a valid ID, and you can start applying for a valid ID through the Ghana embassy here in the US for a passport, you know, because you remember that equity follows the law. They are going to use the law to obey the law. They are going to require, even though you are undocumented, you still need to, you know, show proof of some valid ID. So if you don't have a valid ID, you can request the embassy, the Ghana embassy, and then they can give you a valid passport that you should start applying for those things now. The second thing is I listened again, I think last week, to Senator Robert Menendez. He's the one leading the bill, you know, the reform bill. He's the chief senator who's leading the immigration reform bill, and he says categorically that to be granted temporary legal status, they would require that undocumented people show that they are paying taxes. So if you don't have a social security number, what you might want to do is to request an ITIN. And this ITIN is, you know, a taxpayer number that is issued to everybody, even undocumented people. And so, of course, America doesn't reject money, right? They want everybody to be paying their taxes. So whether you're documented or not, you would be able to get an ITIN number, and then you can start paying your taxes. So this is one of the things that you want to be doing, or you want to get going now, because if the bill becomes a law, there are certain things that may disqualify people, and you don't want to be disqualified. So you need to start doing some of these things. You might also be required to show, for example, that you've continuously resided in the US from a certain date that they'll provide. So these things, bank statements can show, leases, you know, hospital records. There are many ways to show that you've been a continuous resident, but the ones I want to emphasize on would be the FOIA requests, because you would definitely need that, and that takes a long time to get back. So your FOIA, you need to request your immigration history from the right department. You need to get a valid ID. You need to also, you know, start making arrangements to pay your taxes if you are working and you're undocumented. If you are not working, that's a different ball game. So you wouldn't, you know, if you think you don't owe taxes, you don't need to, you know, worry yourself. Also, they're usually disqualifying acts. So for example, when you're establishing good moral character, for instance, if you are somebody that does not pay child support, you're somebody that has extramarital affairs, all these things go against you in establishing good moral character. So you want to watch your steps moving forward. You just want to make sure that you're doing things properly. Okay, if you owe child support, try to make do. Don't say yeah initially, because if you're undocumented, nobody's going to come after you. But now there's light at the end of the tunnel, so you don't want to disqualify yourself by not doing the right thing. Okay, so these are things that I want you to start preparing and start gathering in order to make sure that you are not pushed out of the race when the time comes, because there's going to be, remember, 11 million people or more or whatever. They're going to be trying to get documents and papers, and there might be delays, and you just simply want to start preparing. And if you need assistance with with trying to request your FOIA or discuss more on your specific situation, feel free to reach out to me. My name is Akua. I'm a U.S. licensed attorney. I focus my practice exclusively on U.S. immigration and trademark law, and I'm located in Manassas, Virginia, but I have clients all around the U.S. and I serve clients all around the U.S. You will just need to book a consultation with me, and then I can make time with you, and then I can discuss how you can specifically get prepared, you know. So you can call me on 240-801-7288. I can't wait to speak with you guys. Anyway, take care. Don't forget to share this video with anybody and anyone you know, all your friends and your family. Sometimes people are undocumented, but they won't tell you, so just share with them and then help them to get informed and start preparing. And if they need an attorney, they should feel free to reach out to Akua, and I'll be really happy to help them. All right, then, take care. Bye guys. We'll talk again soon.